Good day, students. My name is Comfort Omotara. I will be your biology teacher for today's lesson, and the topic is arid land. Lesson objectives. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to list the characteristics of arid lands, identify the types of arid lands, discuss the distributions of the organisms to arid lands, and explain some adaptations of organisms to arid lands. Happy listening. Arid lands are places of water scarcity or where water remains frozen. Tropical desert is known for excessive heat and inadequate rainfall resulting in dryness. What does that mean? The place is always dry, the place is extremely hot, and there is no water in that environment. In the cold deserts, the soil is frozen for most of the year. The heat of the sun is so weak, and that the ice does not melt in many places. As a result, water is not available for plant use. So because of there is no water for the plant to grow in that place, it is difficult. Characteristics of arid lands. 1. They are characterized by little rainfall, by very little rainfall, which is very irregular in distribution. Therefore, water is shortly supplied because the rainfall in that environment is not much. Because of that, the water is shortly supplied. 2. The temperatures are usually in the extreme, very high in the daytime and very low in the night time. 3. Atmospheric humidity is very low. The relative humidity of that environment is low. 4. Sunshine is very intense and penetrating in the hot deserts. The sunshine is very high and penetrating in the hot deserts. 5. The mean annual evaporation is very high. The mean annual evaporation is very high. 6. The environment is naturally very windy because of the dryness, because of no water, scarcity of water. The rainfall is low, so it makes the environment to be windy. 7. They have very scanty vegetation. That means the vegetation there are affected in their growth, so they have very scanty vegetation. 8. The ground may have sand dunes. The ground of that environment may have sand dunes because of all the characteristics that we have mentioned above. Now, the tundra is covered with ice in most periods of the year. So the tundra environment is covered with what? With ice in most periods of the year. Now let's look at the types of arid land. Arid are terrestrial habitats without water, as we have already seen in the characteristics. There are 2 types of these arid lands. We have 1, hot and dry desert. Then 2, we have cold and frozen desert. Now, hot and dry desert. Here, the temperature is usually as high as 80%. This includes the hot desert. Here, the temperatures is usually as high as 80%, as I've mentioned. These include the hot deserts of the world, such as Sahara Desert of North Africa. Then we have another one, Kalahari, and Lamib Desert of the world. Lamib Desert of Peru in South America. So when you are looking at the hot deserts, you see it in the North Africa and the South America. Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We were talking about the types of arid land, and we mentioned about hot and dry deserts. The second types of arid land is cold and frozen deserts. Cold and frozen deserts. They have very low temperature of below 0 degrees Celsius during winter. The topsoil is frozen all the year round. The topsoil is frozen all the year round, and the long winter lasts about 9 months annually. Cold deserts include Gobi Desert in China, the Patagonian Desert of South America, and the tundra in Greenland and USSR. Those are the examples of the cold and frozen deserts. Let me give you the examples again. Cold deserts include Gobi Desert in China, the Patagonian Desert of South America, and the tundra in Greenland and USSR. Now let's look at the distribution of organisms in arid lands. The distribution of organisms in arid lands. Very few plants survive in the arid lands, and these include the cactus family, grasses, and thorny shrubs. As soon as rain falls, the seeds germinate and make food available for a short time for primary consumers. Grasses grow during the short wet periods. You see the grasses growing during the short wet periods. Fewer animals live under vegetable litters or branches. See some few animals, you see them living under vegetables litters or branches. Leaves and trunk of trees and shrubs, while many more live in burrow in the soil. See some animals burrow into the soil just to escape the heat of the arid land. Among the primary consumers are beetles, larvae of insects, ants, grasshoppers, and small animals like rodents. They feed partly on seeds and partly on dry remains of desert vegetation. You see these animals feeding partly on seeds and partly on dry remains of desert vegetation. Other consumers are centipedes and scorpions. Centipedes and scorpions. The predators are carnivores such as lizards, geckos, vipers, and spiders. The predators are carnivores such as lizards, geckos, vipers, and spiders. We shall be back. Welcome back. Some adaptation of organisms to arid lands. The adaptation of plants and animals in arid lands are similar to those exhibited by the savanna plants and animals to survive drought and high temperatures. Many of the arid land plants also have their leaves modified into scales or ferns, such as cactus also store water. The camel is an example of arid land animal, which can go about for a long time without water. You can see the picture below showing how the land of the arid looks like. Adaptive features of plants in arid land. Plants that are adapted to dry habitat are called xerophytes. They possess the following characteristics. 1. Elongated, slender, branching, and roots capable of penetrating great depths. 2. Possession of water storage tissue in their stem. Possession of water storage tissue in their stem. 3. Possession of adaptive features such as waxy leaves with thick waterproof cortical, sunken stomata covered with air and thick layer over stems and roots, which help to reduce transpiration. Adaptive features of animals in arid lands are: 1. Body covering is dry and impermeable to water. 2. Engaged in burrowing during the day and are active at night to avoid daytime heat. 3. Possession of excretory system that reabsorb water efficiently and only excrete concentrated urine and feces. 4. Possession of mechanisms of reducing water loss with exhaled air. 5. Possession of fringed feet and toes to enhance walking on loose sand. 6. Possession of sand-colored body to aid camouflage and to remain undetected by predators. 7. Examples of animals in arid lands include camels, lizards, snakes, locusts, birds, fox, antelopes, and jaguar. The diagram below showing the examples of some animals in the arid land. Now, students, can we evaluate ourselves? 1. Can you list 3 characteristics of arid lands? 2. Name 2 hot deserts and 1 cold desert of the world. Name 2 hot deserts and 1 cold desert of the world. 3. Can you state 3 ways by which organisms adapt to the long drought of arid lands. Thank you.